All right, so 3, 2, 1. Good evening, class. This is Professor Puente, and I am here with your class, your live class members. They are going to now up the ante on the discussion that we're going to have. Now, I'm here in the rain. Look, I want to show you guys pure rain, okay? But I'm going to definitely, look, I'm going to lecture in the rain because this is what I do. You guys need me to get you to start speaking decisions theory, okay? Everything you guys are learning so far, it's a field of study, okay? Don't think it's not. Don't think that Professor Puente kind of made it up. No, this is the way decisions theory works. And it's a specific language, and I need you to learn it, okay? So in the midterm, I promise you with all my heart, it's midterm. The midterm is term based. Okay. That's not why it's called midterm, but my midterm is term based. So learn the terms. Okay. Oh, thank you, Jenny. Thank you. I appreciate it. I'm out here getting wet, but I'm going to make it work. As long as you guys learn decisions theory. And this is why it's a little bit dark. So please excuse that. Another reason why I didn't get a guest lecturer, because I didn't want the guest lecturer to get wet. Because when you guys get all, well, if they're on Skype, how does that work? Digital classroom, right? Okay, so with that said, your classmates are going to show you how to put in a sound argument. Every time I use a term, I would love for you guys to say, hey, good term, or explain, hey, that was a good catch, right? Because this is how we're getting better. All right. Now I expect your class here in the chat group to contribute. Contribute very well. Be careful, don't mess up computer rate. I won't try to, Laura. As long as you guys are learning, I think I'll be okay. All right. So I'm going to start with objective 21. Guys, give me your good, not your good arguments. See, look, that should have been bad. That should have been a correction. You can correct me, guys. Give me your sound arguments, because good and bad arguments don't exist. Sound argument, okay? So overthinking obstacles and critical thinking. Avoid egocentric thinking. Being egocentric means seeing the world from your own point of view, assuming you are the norm. This is important, guys. Sometimes people believe they're selfish, but not necessarily. They could be self-centered. This is different. This is totally different. Selfish means you really only buy your interest. Self-centered is that you don't even know there's other interests out there. Okay? That's egocentric. And all that means is that your point of view doesn't have a side, it's some kind of side protection to it. So realize there's others out in the world. Okay? So be aware of social conditioning. This is great. Social conditioning encourages you to accept the beliefs and traditions and values of your social group. This happens quite often in colleges, in churches. It's important you realize what social conditioning is. Do not think that this is the way to you know, just always think. Okay. 1 second, guys. It's raining really bad. Okay. So, yeah, it's really bad, guys. Hold on a second. I'm going to have to come back. Okay, I came back on class. I'm going to have to lecture here in the middle of Starbucks. I guess people are going to have to know what I'm doing. Maybe one of you guys here in Starbucks is my classmate or in my class, right? So I guess Starbucks going to know about decisions, right? So social conditioning. I'm going to have to whisper. Important for you guys to understand. Social conditioning encourages to accept these beliefs. It's not that it's a good or bad thing. Okay, please realize this. It's not that social conditioning is good and bad thing. I have to start to get you to think not in a moralistic way, not left or right, not good or bad. But understand that the social conditioning comes as a thing that sometimes is needed and sometimes it's not. Okay. So when you start to go into a group of people and they have a culture, be aware of it. This could be a thing that could help your decision or not. Okay. Identify outliers. Past experiences with other people and situations that are extremely good or bad are outliers. There's actually a really good book called Outliers. You should definitely look into it, read it. It actually talks about people that are spectacular on the outside. So outliers are things that are rare. Okay, because when you see a curve, the outsides, it's a bell curve. The little outsides, that's the percentages that you see that are new, that are particular rare. Avoid normalization. People who assume their ideas are normal because they have been exposed to them repeatedly are normalized ideas. So you weigh the decision whispering. That's really funny. I'm sorry, I'm gonna have to give a heart on that one in the middle of the lecture. That was really good. Um, if you believe there's a normal way of thinking, a normal, then you start to lose out on the innovation. And decisions is all about innovation. Okay, very good, Sarah's. We've always done in this way. By the way, I'm starting using my heart for grading, except for that one. We've always done it this way, normalization. That was a very, very good catch there, Sarah. It's also, believe it or not, it's the basis of conservatism. Conservatism is not a bad or good thing again. Maybe it's good that you do things the same way for a long time because it keeps consistency. But there's the other side of it, which is, you need to have innovation. So also, is social conditioning kind of like following others? Deja, it can be. It absolutely can be like following others. But the point is, following others might not be a bad thing for you. Look at that. Look at what I did. Bad thing for you. Because if I would have said a bad thing, then I immediately would have expected you guys to give me a failing grade. Bad thing for you is different. Maybe you can explain to me why. Objective 21 is done. All right. So then we go now to. Okay, and if you guys are wondering why I'm always at a Starbucks now, it's because the bandwidth at Starbucks is stupendous for these kind of things. It's hard to find good bandwidth for internet. So avoid deductive reasoning fallacies. Does anybody remember what deductive reasoning is? I would love for someone to tell me. What is deductive reasoning? We talked about it last week. The slippery slope. Okay. Slippery slope argument says that if one event happens, another serious event will inevitably follow. You don't know that. You don't know that just because one thing happened, something else will occur. This is the slippery slope. In fact, one time I was at a waterfall, and let me tell you, slippery slope is a bad word in a waterfall. Do not go into a slippery slope in a waterfall because if you slip up above on the waterfall, it could actually take you all the way down, right? So it's what it's saying. Avoid that argument. Avoid that because things have been the same way. There will always be a way. That may get you in trouble. Be aware of false dilemmas. A false dilemma presents a limited number of options. Two choices, though more options are available. The options are offered black and white terms. This is exactly what I need you guys to think about. A false dilemma dealing with a black or white issue. Uh, this is as simple as realizing, well, it's it raining outside. It must be bad. You think that raining is absolutely bad because we've conditionally, socially, to believe that rain is a bad thing. But let's say if you were a farmer, wouldn't rain be a great thing? So when people say when it rains, it pours, sounds like a negative connotation kind of quote. But what if the farmer would want it to rain? So when it rains, it pours. So wishes the farmer, right? That will be an absolutely great thing. Jenny, deductive reasoning, logical deduction, the process of reasoning one or more is right. Absolutely right. So and clear up equivocations. Equivocation is a word that means mistake. And you probably have seen this in Spanish. If some of you guys speak Spanish, equivocación. And this means error. Okay. And may or may not be intentional. At one of the stops across to Latin America, the sign reads fine for public sunbathing. So it's almost like you assume something so quickly. It's an error on an argument. Okay. And so your argument may be actually pretty good, but it has errors in it. Be careful. Rain is good to make things grow. Right. So then, obviously, 22, that's it. Thankfully, you guys can hear me. I like to see your arguments. I've seen some good ones so far, I gotta admit. Um, I've seen some definitions, like thank you, Jenny, for it, but that's just a definition still. Not all statements is bad, maybe are bad. Not all statements are bad. Sure. I think you would have probably said, um, not all statements that have the word bad in it are bad. That would have been better, Russell. See, I'm trying to make it a little better. Uh, Not every statement is bad. Yes, Russell. Not all statements are good or bad. See, all those are not following an actual sound argument, guys. It's like you're saying something, but you gotta add to it. Look what I just did. I said, not all statements that have the word bad in it are bad. It's a little more of a sound argument. What you guys kind of brought out there is a little broad, and it's good. It's good to see how I'm doing these. How I'm grading your logic. Okay, hey, good job. All right, so let's go through this one, through objective 23. Avoid hasty generalizations. It's easy to generalize, guys. When you think of a term and you just immediately catch on to it, let me think of a term that you may just think, oh, college student. When someone is telling you that you're going to interview a college student, what's the word that comes to your head? Some people may be a drunk person, believe it or not. To some, maybe a person that looks like they study very hard. To some people, maybe an older person. It does it. The generalization would be to think of a just a young person as a college student. Be careful. Separate cause and effect. Arguments often examine multiple events. You need to understand the cause from the effect, because that way you can kind of analyze the situation better, right? If let me see a cause. It's raining outside, right? Is that a cause or an effect? Well, raining is the cause of, and the effect is me coming inside. You see, that's really important to kind of follow. I'm guilty of making hasty generalizations of people. Okay, Daisy, that is a claim. What you just said, I'm guilty of making hasty generalizations of people, but it's not an argument. Why is it not an argument, guys? Help Daisy here. What was missing from Daisy's claim? Make it an argument for Daisy. This is important for the test, by the way, guys. Look for, and I'll come back to that. Look for false causes. Sometimes a cause is not what it is. So post hex. After this, therefore that, because of this. It is a fallacy to suggest that because of some event, situation, communication precedes another, that was the main reason, the cause for the later. So I guess a good example for that would be in the sense that, I have to think about that. But really just means that just because they follow each other does not mean that one's cause for the other. I guess it would be in the sense of like Thanksgiving being right, before Christmas. Because of Thanksgiving doesn't mean that Christmas followed, right? Like Thanksgiving and Christmas have nothing to do with each other with holidays. They're just close to each other, right? Consider composition. Composition error happens when you assume that qualities of part of something are also qualities of the whole. So even though there's little pieces of something, you feel like the whole is the same thing. It's also generalization, guys. It's closer to generalization. Important in that you don't assume things quickly. Catch on stereotyping. I'm not always wrong on my stereotypes, though. Generalizations are mostly made because people have preconceived. No, guys. See, you're not helping helping her. Let me do this, okay? Let's see. Where are you, Daisy? Check out how I'm going to make it an argument, okay, in front of everybody here, because this is important. Okay, this is how I'm gonna make it an argument. Argument. All right. I'm guilty of making generalizations of people. This happens when I quickly assume something that I recognize. It also happens when I do not totally recognize an event. Whenever I do not, whenever I do not know the specific details of something, I will go to the fastest way. Generalize. Generalize. You see what I did, guys? I turned her statement, I'm guilty of making hasty decisions of people, and then I put in reasons behind it. That's an argument. Guys, if you're three pieces to support a sound argument, exactly. In fact, for it to be sound, it needs to have those three pieces of evidence. I don't know if you guys know about appraisals on homes. When you do an appraisal on a home, the appraiser has to have three comparables to stipulate a price. The appraiser cannot just say the price is 235. The appraiser has to say the price is 235 because the other neighbors have about three homes, two that are a little 200 square feet less, one is 300 square higher, but it's kind of close, built around the same year, about this price, the same price. I guess I'm confused still. This still sounds like a statement to me. So if I make a statement, I need to add the reasons why. Exactly, Kimberly. A statement is a statement. A claim, and we don't even use the word statement in this class. What's the word for statement in this class? A claim. Daisy's was just this one. I'm guilty of making haste against other people. That was it. That is a claim. Do you get what I'm saying? It's that is alone a claim, and you could just quickly say it. Doesn't have to be right. It doesn't have to be true. It doesn't. You could just say it. Red is blue. That's a statement. That's a claim. Actually, we don't use the word statement. Claim. All right. But when to make it the claim into an argument, it needs to be sound, and this means that the pieces of the argument have to have truth in it. Do you get what I'm doing there? Generalizations is part of everyone. I'm guilty of it, and you need the fact, and you need the facts to make an educated decision on argument. Work on that one, Russell. I think you're working on it. Maybe the word argument is what is confusing. We aren't trying to change somebody else's mind. Yes. Yes, Sarah. You're thinking argument like you're trying to change someone's mind. Absolutely true. No, an argument is almost like a claim that has support evidence behind it. An argument is not necessarily a bad thing. See how you're thinking the moral mind here? It has to be good or bad. And we just stipulated there, don't do the black and white thing. I make experiences with people before I get to know them because I make assumptions of them based on their traits that I've come across from other people in the part. I also find getting to know people more mature than anything I want to do. I think Daisy, you're close. That was pretty good. I think you would have actually put in, I make conversations with people before I get to know them. One time when I was with a friend, see, you could even do examples and then just finish off with, and you're really close. That was a way better, closer to sound argument. And it's a practice. It really is. If you would have written that, I would have given you credit for it, okay? Because I don't expect you to continue on. But let me tell you, yes, this is the same language law school speaks. This is the same language MBA schools speak. Same language at PhD school. When you write a paper, this is what it should be. In fact, this is the definition of writing a paper. You put in a claim, which is a statement, and you back it up with reasons. How do you write an essay? You put in a thesis statement, your claim, and then your three parts, your sound argument, and you conclude it, right? Isn't this the same thing? This is the beginning of everything you've been doing. You're just used to people just saying things. You know what? It's hot outside. What makes you think it's hot? Well, it's so humid inside. Have you seen the windows? That's one. And also, I saw the thermometer. It says 75 degrees, right? Two things already. And the third thing, well, the other person thought it was hot too. Three things. Argument set. Arguments are facts that you know and that you want the other person to know. Facts. That's definitely a claim, Jenny. That's just a claim. I'm gonna say a sound. I think we could all learn something from toddlers, but why? But why is it hot outside? Yes, yeah. Toddlers tell you the why. We stop. There's definitely an age where we stop asking why, and toddlers definitely ask why. In fact, adolescents people they ask a lot of reasons too, a lot of whys. They're not completely sold on what we're told. Thank you, Laura, again for sending these chapters. Again, I have lost contact with my ebook, and it's so much easier to do it this way. Develop intellectual humility. Intellectual humility is defined as recognizing the limits of your knowledge. The higher you get into the degree fields, the more you know that what you know may not be what it is. Okay, guys? Do you guys know what science is? Can anybody define what science is? It may blow you away what science really is. I don't know if someone could try it. Maybe if someone could try it, I'll add to it. But if you can define the word science, for me, it will help me. Okay? Be a critic, not a cynic. Becoming a critical thinker is not the same thing as being a cynic. Cynic is real simple. You just deny everything. I'm going to find what's wrong with this statement. Being another word is there's another word that's not cynic. That does help. And it's sort of like criticism. It's a critic, okay? Now remember, the word critic for us in this decisions theory is not the same critic that you hear in marriage counseling, for example. Stop being a critic, okay? It's not. Quit thinking that some of these words, they have different meanings to it, like the word argument. Challenge your assumptions and beliefs. Belief is a really important part of everything. The science use belief, guys. Can you answer that? Maybe I can give you that. The science use belief. Work through complex issues and problems. Thomas Edison once said, thinking is the hardest part of the job. Guys, thinking is the highest making action you can do. Okay? Those who think get paid a lot more than those who do. Okay? You create, you're going to be in charge. The intellectual and practical activity encompasses systematic study of structure and behavior of the physical natural world through observation and experiment. Yes, Legina, thank you for copying the definition, but okay, you have that. But what do you get out of that word? What it's science fact. Let's just go that way. Science fact. And let's see. Have confidence in your reasoning ability. Reasoning is how I'm trying to get you to think. I need you to be a reasoner, okay, a critical thinker. Do you know what you're talking about? Do you know what you know? You may need to challenge that, because remember how you're putting arguments together? That's how you should be thinking. Are you sure that what you know is what you know? Because if you need three parts to every belief, to every claim, to make an argument, maybe you don't have enough data, right? If my new coworker is late every day and looks hot mess, I'm going to assume he's a terrible employee. Really, Daisy? Really? If he comes in late every day and looks a hot mess, I'm going to assume he's a terrible employee. But then I'm going to challenge you. Why is he coming in late every day and looks like a hot mess? What job does he do? See, let me tell you this. If he was a person that came in and only he could do that job, I will tell you, maybe he's not that bad of an employee. He's just a late employee. And does late to you equal bad employee? So it depends. So I would say it depends. So if that person was Deshaun Watson and he was always late to practice, will he be a bad player? Look how I turned it, right? In the most basic sense, a scientific fact is an objective, fallible observation in contrast with hypothesis or theory, which is intended to explain and interpret facts. Yes, Jenny, absolutely. So does that mean that science is facts? Is science facts? It's not. Science is a collection of facts. Science is an image. Scientists argue. They put arguments together, which put these claims and place it together to say something, right? Competence, conscious competence. Yeah, I like that. This is pretty good. I like that. Very good. So overall, let me tell you guys, science is not facts. It's not. It's what the scientists image at observation through argument is. And we believe in that concept in science, that it's a so really science is a belief system. And you have to realize the difference between science and religion is that at any moment an idea could be swiped off, could be discarded, which Descartes did that. So at any moment something happens, and let me give you a good example. Pluto. Pluto's no longer a planet. It was quick. Got rid of it. There's no evidence. There's evidence to show that it was not a planet, and it got taken just about, very quickly. We all grew up with Pluto being fine, and it's no longer a planet. That's science for you. All right. If the argument is not pieced together with truthful facts, no longer there. So, four stages learn as it applies to this conversation. That's very good, Sarah. I liked it. Exactly, Ryan. That's very true. Science are predictions, absolutely observations, images of the world. So, in other words, science is a belief system. Okay, it's just a well put together argument. That's science. People think science is just the truth. It's not. Science is the image of the truth by experts. By experts. Exactly. Yeah. Do you see how this is going? Science is a well put together argument. It's really what it is. It follows the same logic. Absolutely. I'm gonna leave you guys. I want someone to look up that word. That word. And I also wanted to. I want you guys to see how that word relates to that. And let's see if you guys can figure that out. That's just for you. It's actually pretty good. But everything we're doing, decisions theory, really is logic. Really is logic. And that word in Greek is logos. How does that relate to John 1-1? All right, guys. You guys have a good night. Let me know if you guys need anything. Thank you for your patience in this rainy weather. And I'll see you next week. Good night.